Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, roll out of bed, grab your phone, and nothing. No Wi-Fi, no internet, no apps, just a blank screen. It might seem like a nightmare, but it could become our reality sooner than we think. What if the internet simply vanished? No warning, no trace, gone. We're so deeply integrated with the digital world that its disappearance would not only alter how we live, it could change the very fabric of society. So, what happens when the plug is pulled? Let's take a deep dive into the digital apocalypse, from the first shockwaves to how humanity would adapt in the long run. Today, we're imagining a world without the internet. Buckle up, it's going to get interesting. Let's talk about the immediate impact. The first few hours after the internet vanishes would feel like a cold, hard slap in the face. But what exactly would start crumbling right away? The first thing you might notice? The ATMs are down. Gone. No way to access your money. No way to check your balance. If you live in a smart home, things would go haywire fast. That's right, Alexa, Google Home, your lights, your thermostat, they're all useless. The coffee maker might not brew because it connects to the internet. Your fridge, your TV, even your security system. They all rely on an invisible thread called the internet. And when that thread snaps, suddenly, you're back in the Stone Age. It's a tech-driven apocalypse in your own living room. Then comes the communication chaos. Without the internet, no more instant messages, no more emails, no social media updates to check on your friends or family. How would you even get in touch with someone? Well, good luck with that. Sure, we could still dial up some phone numbers, but how many people even have a landline anymore? The days of checking your Twitter feed for the latest gossip, or sending a quick message via WhatsApp, would be over. We'd be scrambling to remember phone numbers, relying on outdated paper contacts, and perhaps even trying to meet up with people the old-fashioned way, by showing up in person. No internet also means no real-time news. You're cut off from live updates, from global events. The news cycle that moves at lightning speed would suddenly grind to a halt. No more breaking news alerts pinging your phone. If you want to stay informed, you might have to revert to the radio. Yep, that little box of static and voices in the corner. But even radio stations rely on the internet for updates. So, how do we navigate this information void? The news would slow to a trickle, and in moments of crisis, that information vacuum would feel like a lifeline is being severed. And without news, who knows how long the panic would last? Alright, things are starting to get real. With the digital world collapsing, we'd have to think quickly. We'd be in full survival mode. Without the internet, digital payments crash. No more tapping your card at the store, no more Venmo, no more mobile banking. Suddenly, the cashless society we've been moving toward seems like a dangerous gamble. You walk into a grocery store to find shelves packed with food, but no way to pay for it unless you have actual physical money. Those who have been living with just cards and apps might feel the scramble to find their wallets, or worse, find their wallets empty. Without GPS, how do you get anywhere? You can't trust your phone because it's now a paperweight. No more Google Maps, no more Waze. You could rely on paper maps, but how many of us have used those in the last decade? Picture this. You're on the road, trying to navigate to a new city, but all you've got is an outdated map you found in your glove compartment. Streets have changed, roads are rerouted, and you're lost. Oh, and forget about road closures or traffic updates. You're on your own. And don't even get me started on entertainment. No Netflix, no YouTube, no TikTok scrolling while you eat. Binge watching your favorite shows? Not an option. You might find yourself looking around thinking, what now? Maybe you'll get back to something a little more old school. Board games, card games, and conversations might be your new go-to. You'll actually talk to people face to face without a screen between you. Remember those long nights spent chatting with friends or family, back before everyone got glued to their phones? Those conversations are coming back, whether we're ready for them or not. As the dust settles and people begin to adjust, the world would start to experience far-reaching consequences. Global systems are designed to run on the internet, and when it's gone, chaos would spread fast. Without the internet, global trade would grind to a halt. Factories and suppliers depend on digital tools to communicate, track shipments, and synchronize production schedules. That's all gone. Goods that used to flow freely across borders would get stuck. Imagine walking into your local supermarket and seeing empty shelves, but there's no restocking in sight. You can't order anything online because online retailers are offline. Grocery stores, pharmacies, and even gas stations rely on the internet to keep their shelves stocked. The entire global supply chain would crumble, leaving people scrambling to find basic necessities. As people scramble to survive, the government would struggle to maintain order. With no internet for communication, emergency services would be severely hampered. Emergency alerts, weather updates, and important government communications would be unreachable. In some areas we could see mass riots breaking out. People would want answers, and with no central information to rely on, people would take matters into their own hands. Some governments may resort to martial law to restore order. Curfews, rationing, and military enforcement could become the new normal in certain regions. Meanwhile, nations around the world would be left vulnerable to cyber warfare. Those responsible for disabling the internet might target critical infrastructure, and in the aftermath, a new global power struggle could erupt as countries fight to recover and re-establish control. After the dust settles, humanity will need to adapt to this new reality. It's going to be a slow process, but a rebuild will begin. Communities will need to come together. Without the internet, the importance of local relationships becomes more apparent. People will start to rely on each other, trading goods and services. Maybe you've got a garden full of vegetables and someone else has chickens. You'll trade your homegrown tomatoes for fresh eggs, and that might be your new currency. People will relearn old skills, sewing, fixing things by hand, growing their own food. It's the return of self-sufficiency, and it'll feel like a whole new world, but with a lot less convenience. Governments will have to adapt too. Analog infrastructure will be funded and developed, creating secure, offline systems that don't depend on the internet. We might see a rise in local news outlets, community centers, and even physical mail as methods of communication. This might just be the most profound shift. Without the digital world, human connections would become more genuine. Forced into face-to-face interactions, we'd start to see a resurgence of real-world relationships. No more hiding behind a screen. People would look each other in the eye, share stories, and rebuild community ties. As we start to rebuild, it's time for some reflection. What did we lose in the process of going digital? A massive wealth of knowledge, centuries of human history stored in digital formats, would be erased. The loss of collective memory would be immense. But what would we gain? We'd gain resilience. We'd discover the power of self-sufficiency, and we'd learn to rely on our own abilities and our communities. And perhaps we'd also gain something more, a re-evaluation of our priorities. In a world without the internet, we would be forced to face what matters most: real relationships, physical connection, and a stronger sense of self. The internet has woven itself into nearly every aspect of our lives. But what if it all disappeared tomorrow? What would you do? It's a terrifying thought, but it's also a reminder of how fragile our digital age truly is. If the worst were to happen, would you be ready? Start thinking about how you might prepare for a digital-free world, not just in terms of practical skills, but in terms of community. After all, the internet isn't just about convenience, it's about connection. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to stay prepared, stay resilient, and maybe, just maybe, take a moment to put down your phone and have a real conversation today. Know more, be more,